aren't. They aren't just old models. They are the old guard. Most people see the Withered Animatronics as broken versions of the classic band, but the truth is darker. They represent the moment Fazbear decided it was cheaper to hide the bodies than to fix the problem. Hey guys, Horror Lorekeeper here. When the lights are on, they look like props. When the lights go out, they look like evidence, because the Withereds aren't old models. They're the old guard, not because they wanted revenge, because nobody ever told them the nightmare ended. They waited for applause. They got silence. Silence rots inside their heads. The first generation that lived through the worst years. The ones who saw the start of the rot and got punished for surviving it. Fazbear Entertainment didn't retire them with dignity. They stripped them. They gutted them. They stacked them in the back like broken furniture and told the world a cleaner story. And inside those shells, a smell the company could never fully scrub out. A wet, sour stench that kept coming back no matter how many times they mopped the floor. The kind of smell you only get when something organic is trapped where it doesn't belong. This is not a list of cool designs. This is a crime scene timeline. Because the Withered Animatronics aren't just haunted robots, they are rotting prisons. And the tragedy is simple. They were built to be the band. Then they became the coffins. Then they became the scapegoats. Then they were abandoned in the dark to carry everyone's mistakes in their joints. Tonight, the story starts where Fazbear always starts, with a lie that was cheaper than the truth. The first lie, it's just wear and tear. Fazbear's public explanation was always the same. Kids are rough, parts break, animatronics are expensive, stuff happens. That lie works on parents because parents want the party to keep going. A broken mascot is inconvenient. A dead child is unthinkable. So the company leaned into the easiest narrative. These suits are old. These suits smell because they're old. These suits leak because they're old. But the paper trail doesn't match that. Not if you read what the company itself quietly admitted. The newspapers and tapes talk about it like it's a customer service issue. A bad smell, reports of blood and mucus, an odor that won't go away, a complaint you can solve with bleach and a new slogan. That wording is the tell. It's corporate language trying to compress a horror story into one line on a form, because metal doesn't produce mucus, plastic doesn't rot, a stage costume doesn't smell like a body unless a body was there. Those original suits weren't haunted because they were spooky, they were haunted because they were used. Used as hiding places, used as containers, used as the cheapest solution to the most expensive problem imaginable. The Withereds are what happens after that, after the bodies are removed, after the headlines cool down, after the cops stop coming by every day. The company kept the shells, and the shells kept the truth. The second lie, we can retrofit our way out. By the time FNAF 2's era rolls around, Fazbear's strategy shifts. They don't want the old generation on stage anymore. They want something new, something cute, something with plastic cheeks and big eyes that parents can trust. The toys get introduced as a fix, cleaner design, friendlier look, and on paper, safer tech. Facial recognition, a criminal database. The idea is almost funny when you say it out loud. Fazbear takes the same brand built on missing kids and decides to install predator detection. It's like putting a security camera inside a haunted house and calling it peace. The irony is lethal, because they didn't build that safety on clean ground. They built it on top of the old suits. The Withereds stayed in the building, not as stars, as spare parts, as backup units, as a pile of metal they could cannibalize if the new toys failed. That decision matters. It's not just logistics, it's a moral statement. Fazbear looked at these old bodies, these old shells that had already been through the worst, and decided they were still useful, still worth keeping, still worth reusing. Then they tried to upgrade the situation with facial recognition, like technology could overwrite guilt, and it didn't work. It never works. Not in this story, because the suits weren't the predators. They were the victims, and the victims don't sit still when you bolt a new system onto their trauma. The facial recognition systems glitched. The behavior became unpredictable. The company called it malfunctions, because restless spirits doesn't fit in a shareholder report. So they did what Fazbear always does when a problem grows teeth. They shut doors. They moved the blame. They shoved the ugly part of the story into the back room. They stopped trying. And the Withereds, already ruined once, got left to rot again. The Withereds as the old guard. Here is the part most people miss. The Withereds aren't scary because they look broken. They're scary because they look like they were broken by routine. A single accident breaks something cleanly. A fall, a collision, a snap joint. The Withereds look like they were dismantled slowly, over time, by hands that didn't care, by hands that got used to it. They are covered in the language of neglect, exposed endos, loose cables, holes where parts used to be, a body that kept functioning while pieces were taken away. That is the company's relationship with these animatronics in one image. Take what you need, leave what you don't. If it still moves, it still works. And if it still works, it can still suffer. This is where the Agony concept fits like a lock, not as a cute book reference, as the emotional physics of the franchise. Agony is pain that soaks into objects, not just one moment of pain, repeated pain. Pain with no resolution. The Withereds aren't powered by one tragedy. They're powered by the aftershocks, the smell, the cleaning attempts, the retrofits, the constant shutting down and powering back up in the same building where it happened. They are grief that never got a funeral. They are rage that never got a verdict. They are souls stuck in the world's cheapest storage unit. Old guard doesn't mean older models. Old guard means they were there first. They were there when the lie was born, and they got punished for staying. Withered Bonnie, the face that got taken. Start with Bonnie because Bonnie is the most honest. Bonnie doesn't have the courtesy of a full mask anymore. Withered Bonnie is missing his face. No cheeks, no snout, no friendly stage smile to hide behind. Just endoskeleton, wires, teeth that were never meant to be visible. And that missing face isn't just damage, it's symbolism. The franchise never bothers to whisper, it shouts it. A face is identity. It's how you recognize a character. It's how you trust a mascot. When Bonnie loses his face, the character dies, not the machine, the persona. Fazbear didn't just break an animatronic, they erased the part that made him safe for children. Now he's a walking reminder that the brand's friendly layer was always paper thin. Withered Bonnie is what's underneath the costume, not metaphorically, literally. A hollow frame built to perform happiness, forced to walk without it. And there's another detail that hurts if you let it. A faceless mascot can't smile. A faceless mascot can't reassure. If a child sees Withered Bonnie in the hallway, there is no friendly fiction left to cling to, only the truth. A machine built to be a friend, stripped down until it looks like a threat. That's the company's legacy with one character. Remove the face, keep the body, pretend it still belongs on the stage. Withered Chica, the mouth that never closes. Chica is different. Bonnie's horror is absence. Chica's horror is being stuck open. Withered Chica's jaw hangs, locked wide like it broke mid-scream and never healed. That's not just a creepy design choice, it's a permanent posture. Her mouth can't close, her teeth can't hide. She can't rest her face back into a smile. A normal mascot has two modes, performance, idle. Chica doesn't get idle, she gets this one expression forever, open. And open reads like hunger, open reads like shock, open reads like a silent scream. In a story full of children who couldn't scream loud enough to be saved, that mouth hits different. Chica becomes the embodiment of never finished speaking, never finished warning, never finished living. She stands there, jaw unhinged like the building itself is trying to say something and can't form the words. And Fazbear's response wasn't compassion, it was storage. Put her in the back, turn her off, leave her open. Agony loves that. Agony loves a body frozen in the moment of panic. Withered Foxy, the favorite that turned ferocious. Foxy is the one everyone remembers, the fan favorite, the go-go-go runner, the character kids loved because he was different. In the old days, Foxy's gimmick was motion, energy, a pirate that didn't just stand and sing, he ran. Then the story turned and Foxy became the most aggressive, not because he was the evil one, because he was the one with the most momentum. In the minigame, Foxy runs out again and again, a routine, a performance loop. Now picture what that loop feels like when the building turns into a hunting ground. When the kids are gone, when the stage is cold, when the hallways are full of silence, that same drive to move becomes a weapon. Withered Foxy looks like he's been through a war. Torn suit, exposed frame, hooks and sharp edges that weren't supposed to be the first thing you see. Foxy is the old guard soldier, the one who kept charging forward even after the company stopped caring. And when you see him in FNAF 2, he doesn't drift, he lunges. He's not a ghost floating through the building. He's a broken machine still trying to complete the last command it ever understood, run the show. Only now, the show is survival. Withered Freddy, the captain with the dead eyes. Freddy doesn't need as much spectacle because Freddy is the symbol, the face of the brand. Withered Freddy is the brand after the paint peels. He's heavier, slower, not cute, not safe. The top hat still sits there like a crown on a corpse. And Freddy's eyes in that generation don't read like animatronic eyes, they read like empty rooms. That emptiness is the point. Freddy is the captain of the old guard, the one that stood center stage when it all went wrong. The one that had the best seat in the house for the moment the company decided to hide bodies instead of fix the source. Withered Freddy carries the weight of being the mascot of a crime, not a killer, a billboard. His presence says, this brand was smiling while the worst thing happened behind the curtain. That's why he feels less like a monster and more like a monument, a statue built out of guilt, the failed retrofit, revisited, using victims as security systems. Now circle back to the facial recognition for a second, because this is the sickest irony in the whole era. Fazbear installed a criminal database and facial recognition to protect children, but the Withereds are the proof that the company didn't protect children in the first place. They tried to patch safety onto a place that already chose negligence. They tried to use the victims as tools to catch predators. That's backwards. That's cruel. It's like asking a coffin to become a police officer. And when the technology failed, Fazbear didn't take that as a warning sign. They took it as a reason to scrap the whole generation. The Withereds became too ugly, too unreliable, too unsettling for parents. So they were hidden again. Not repaired, not honored, hidden. That pattern is the entire franchise in miniature. Cover it up, rebrand, open again. Every time the company reopens, the old guard is still inside the walls somewhere. Agony in the metal, why they never calm down. There's a reason the Withereds feel meaner than the toys. Not just in mechanics, in vibe. The toys are shiny, their horror is surprise. The Withereds are old, their horror is inevitability. Agony makes a thing heavy, not physically, spiritually. The Withereds carry years of bodies trapped in suits, staff scrubbing stains, customers complaining about odor, management rewriting incident reports, technicians swapping parts without looking too closely. That is a slow, constant pressure. That pressure doesn't create peace, it creates a pressure cooker. That's why the Withereds don't feel like clean single spirits. They feel like a crowd, a chorus of grief inside a shell that was never meant to hold it. They don't want to scare you, they want the building to remember, and the building refuses, so they force it. The company's final betrayal, melt them down. Here's the ending nobody frames as horror, but it is. The Withereds don't get saved, they don't get exorcised in a neat bow. They get repurposed. Fazbear eventually melts them down, reuses their endos, rebuilds them into the FNAF 1 classics. Cleaner shells, new suits, a fresh coat of paint, a new smile on the same bones. That is not restoration, that is erasure. It's the company taking the old guard, stripping away their visible damage, and pretending the past is gone because it looks better. But the past doesn't vanish, it transfers. If the Withereds were the original coffins, then melting them down doesn't free what was trapped inside. It spreads it. It pushes it into new shapes, new faces, new performances, meaning the Withered Animatronics never really left. They just changed shape. The movie connection. Why this era matters now. The next film chapter doesn't bring the Withereds back for nostalgia, not if the story has any spine. It brings them back because they are the rotting truth Mike Schmidt has to face. The classics are scary, the toys are flashy, but the Withereds are the history. They are the part of Freddy's that can't be merchandised without lying. They are the evidence Fazbear buried and tried to repaint. And in a movie camera's lighting, real texture, real grime, real weight, these suits stop being cool horror designs. They become what they always were, a reminder that the company found the cheapest place to put the truth, inside the band. They were the old guard. They were abandoned. They were filled with agony. They kept moving anyway, because in Fazbear history, the machines don't stop when the adults quit. They keep working, even when the job is carrying the dead. If you enjoyed opening this file on the Withereds, make sure to subscribe. We are digging into the prototype files next, and the connections to this kind of agony might surprise you. I'm the Horror Lorekeeper. Thanks for watching.